Welcome back to the Advent Calendar House. A salute to all holiday specials, but mostly the Christmas ones, even the ones that try to sneak in another holiday just to confuse you. Today we sail back to 1981 to dig up Rankin Bass's second to last and possibly most thrown together stop-motion Christmas special ever, the Leprechauns Christmas Gold.
The name is Kilakilarney. Blarney Kilakilarney. Leprechaun by birth, goalkeeper by vocation, spinner of tales by choice. Like the one about how we leprechauns brought the Christmas gold back to Ireland.
I am tiny but prolific cobbler who only makes shoes in primary colors, Mike Westfall. And joining me today is a man who insists on hiding his life savings in a magic cave. It's Michael DiGiovanni. Hello, DiGio.
Hello, Michael. I don't know if you knew this, but my nickname back in high school was the Shamrock-Eating Dragon of Belfast.
Oh, of course. And it's the Lord of Leprechauns himself, Michael May. Hello, Michael.
Faith and Bagora, it's good to be here.
Bagora. So the Leprechauns Christmas Gold. Mr. May, I believe it was you who called this one a personal favorite, yes?
Oh, I'm going to be so alone. This is a personal favorite, actually. It's crazy. It's a wacky thing, but I do like this. I don't watch it every year or anything, but I really enjoy popping it on.
I wouldn't say I dislike it so much. It's definitely not an annual watch for me, but
yeah. Not even on St. Patrick's Day.
But yeah, occasionally. I probably watch it more often on St. Patty's Day than I do on Christmas. There's not a lot of Christmas here.
No.
There's not a lot of St. Patrick's Day either, but it's just kind of there. It's kind of, this is a story in Ireland that takes place on Christmas, and here we go.
Yeah, well, it does have St. Patrick in it.
It does.
Right.
Did you also discover this, DJ, as an adult rather than in 1981?
Yeah, I never saw this one as a kid.
No.
I don't remember this being on the rotation, or my parents did the wise thing and just put on Little House on the Prairie quickly and moved on. This one I've only seen in my adult life, and I came across it on one of those like Christmas classic DVD collections where it's on the proverbial, using air quotes, side B of one of the DVD discs. And I was like, the Leprechaun's Christmas Gold. All right, I'll give it a shot. Boy, howdy, is it a shot. But I don't recall ever seeing this as a kid. I've only seen this maybe a handful of times as an adult.
I think that's a large portion of the population that's in our general age range can say the same. I didn't even know it existed. I caught it on TV. I caught it on the former ABC Family. They snuck it in whenever they snuck it in, and I was intrigued enough to stick around and watch it, but not intrigued enough to tape it.
But when should this be watched? I know we kind of already have touched on this. It's like this is barely a Christmas special, and I'm sure that this will become a point of discussion. But it feels like this special, Rankin and Bass, this was a Christmas party dare that they got themselves into, where they were playing a drinking game and they went, you know what would be funny is try to match leprechauns with Christmas. And they went, done. We'll do that next year.
Well, here's what I think happened. I'm convinced the only reason this special exists was because Rankin Bass had the rights to the song Christmas in Killarney, and they needed to throw it in somewhere, so they had their usual guy, Romeo Muller, write a story. And here we are.
Yeah, I think that Christmas in Killarney ditty is where they probably went, we could do this. we have that song. We can get Romeo to mull together some sort of story. That's the only piece that they probably tried to use as a very flimsy launching pad, because this is more of a St. Patrick's Day special. I mean, as we've already said, I mean, St. Patrick is in it. There's no Santa. I mean,
no.
But the logic here is, I'm assuming is that in 1980, 81 was they were convinced that, well, people won't watch holiday specials that aren't Christmas, so we've got to make it a Christmas special.
Oh, could be that.
Yeah, my pet theory was always that they developed this as a St. Patrick's Day special and just realized that nobody's wanting a St. Patrick's Day special, so we'll just shoehorn Christmas into it. But I think, Mike, Westfall, your theory about starting with the song, I think that's probably more realistic. That's because that is, that song is a kind of Christmas classic for a lot of people.
Oh yeah. Well, I haven't talked up Romeo Muller enough on this podcast. He's the writer of most of Rankin Bass's output. That includes things like Rudolph and Frosty and all of the classics, but it also includes things like their version of The Hobbit. Another notable series of cartoons he wrote were Puff the Magic Dragon. There were a whole bunch of those. So they must have had the rights to Christmas in Killarney, or it might have very well been, let's do a St. Patrick's Day special. Well, this isn't working out. Let's go back to Christmas. Hey, here's a song we have. They have him write a story about it, and it's barely about it, but it's a story.
It is that. I think we can say it's a story. There's some semblance of a story here. Yeah, Romeo Muller is like, this guy, I agree, doesn't get enough credit as the Rankin and Bass, because he is pretty much, I would argue, 95% of all of their holiday output. If you check the credits, he's the guy that's done the screenplay.
Mm-hmm.
He had a very thankless job with this one.
So I'm going to disagree with you there. I like the story of this. I totally agree it's not very Christmassy. But like, if this was a straight up St. Patrick's Day special, like, I would be watching this every St. Patrick's Day.
Absolutely.
And the reason that I don't is because they try to put Christmas in there, and it is this weird kind of try to meld those two holidays together in a weird way that doesn't really work. But just as kind of a fantasy St. Patty's kind of story, like, I really like this one.
Yeah, and I that's where I'm with you. I think where it gets offensive is this, wait a minute, this is supposed to be about Christmas? Like, all they do is they insert Christmas into sentences. They just go, well, that gold, that's Christmas gold. Why? Doesn't matter. It's just Christmas gold.
Yeah.
Like there's no iconography of Christmas other than the Christmas in Killarney song that we've mentioned. Everything else, it's like they were in post, they just added in Christmas. Like, they just said that in certain phrases and they went, all right, we're done. Like,
yeah, it feels a lot like that. There's more Christmas in Die Hard than there is in this, people.
Oh, gotcha.
This special feels like an outcast. It doesn't even have its own page on Wikipedia. But I think it's largely because it has this identity crisis going on with it. But another thing I wanted to touch on, thank goodness this is only a 25-minute special. Can you imagine how much crazier it would have been if they tried to stretch this out to an hour?
It's thankfully very short. That is one of the smart decisions here, is that this thing is brisk. It moves along. You don't even really have a chance to go and nitpick about stories or go, that song is weak, because there's just not a lot here. It's it's 20 plus minutes.
Yeah, not the shortest, but close to it, and has about the same runtime as Frosty the Snowman, but it feels way shorter. But that's to its advantage, I think. I think if they tried to stretch this out any longer than it already is, yeah, sure, you get to the end and it's just like, oh, it's over. But it's probably for the best.
Yeah.
But let's start from the beginning. We open with our narrator, Blarney Kilakilarney, voiced by Art Carney. And last time we heard from Art Carney on this podcast was the Star Wars Holiday Special.
Two of my favorites.
And here he is and everyone else doing their best Irish accent. And Art's fine here, I think.
Yeah, he's the right choice. I mean, he feels appropriate, and I think he pulls it off.
Yeah, I was trying to remember. Like, I don't know what his background is. Like, if he's originally from Ireland or what, but I don't know. I didn't get my hackles up or anything when I saw his name. Like, if it was somebody like, I don't know, Sylvester Stallone, it would have been weird. But Art Carney's not so weird.
Well, he's telling the story of how the Leprechauns brought the Christmas gold back to Ireland, and by 1981, Rankin Bass has dropped the charade of, oh, you haven't heard this story? No, we haven't. No one has. So he launches right into the tale of Denty Doyle, the cabin boy, who's sailing back to Dublin on Christmas Eve.
What's that? A tiny pair of coattails. A little people. Leprechauns!
And the voice of Denty is Ken Jennings, not the Jeopardy guy. This is Broadway actor Ken Jennings, known to the theater world for his portrayal of Tobias Ragg in Sweeney Todd. And for my theme park nerds listening, he was in a short-lived attraction at Epcot Center called the Astuter Computer Review. If you were at Walt Disney World between 1982 and 1984 and remember a tiny little hologram guy in a straw hat singing and dancing on top of a row of computers, that's Ken Jennings, who gets to sing later.
Wow, deep cut.
Oh, yeah. But Denty the cabin boy is sent to dig up a pine tree from an uncharted island his captain has found.
Okay, I got to jump in here. The entire fault, the whole reason we get into this mess of this story is this captain of the Bell of Erin here.
Yeah.
This guy who claims, I always have a Christmas tree on the boat, but oh yeah, I forgot it this year. Well, good one. First of all, he looks like a drunkard too, this captain, I've got to say.
Oh, yeah.
Him now, just forgetful Jones here, forgets about the tree that he brings every year and sends Denty to an island, just sends him by himself out onto some like remote island. The fault of this entire story lays on this captain. I think that must be put out.
I like that you called him Forgetful Jones. I think they have the same mustache. But as luck might have it, here comes an island they've never seen before with a single pine tree that's just the right shape growing on the shore. And that part's fine. I'm a Jersey Shore baby. I can assure you that part checks out. Mm-hmm. But Denty starts digging up this tree. He spots a bunch of leprechauns watching him and decides, neat. Well, back to digging up this tree.
And if this is such an important tree, how strict was this law enforced? Because these leprechauns just watch the stranger come up, and I might mind and say it's the kids that have to point out, should he be doing that? The adults just playfully, gleefully watching, and then they're like, Ma? Dad? It's like, guys, isn't your one responsibility on this island is to protect that tree?
Yeah, but leprechauns are notoriously shy. They're not going to just run out. And I can't believe I'm going to be defending the logic of this show. But.
Please do. Someone needs to.
Please do. We're going to be going toe to toe this whole time.
Yeah, my argument's going to be pretty weak, I think. But
well, we soon find out that the tree was there to seal away a banshee. And up she rises, wailing, "Free at last!
Free! Free at last! A storm to celebrate my freedom!"
And did either of you immediately think of the opening of Power Rangers like I did? It's Rita on the moon. After 10,000 years, I'm finally free!
Free! That's funny.
The voice of the Banshee is credited to Christine Mitchell, who is known for this. And that's it.
That's it. Sorry, Mag.
Yep. So, Denty doesn't see Mag the Hag. All he sees is a storm she conjures to celebrate her freedom, followed by a rainbow that points the way to a hidden cave covered by shamrocks that opens to reveal the leprechaun's gold. And here comes our opening song.
Everyone knows that rainbows end in gold. Oh boy. The most way to kick off a Christmas special with the most joyous and festive Christmas song you could possibly do, right?
It's very 1970s folk, even though it's 1981.
Oh, man. It was throwing me back to the Rankin Bass Hobbit very much.
Yes.
I would think there'd probably be a lot of parallels to The Hobbit with this one, more so just even with the look and feel of the design of the special. Mm-hmm. It's so fascinating how out of left field this is from their other stuff, from their other Christmas specials. So I mean, it accomplishes that as it's singularly unique against their other works.
Yeah, and I love the design of the leprechauns too. Like they look really cute, and
they do.
Especially like the Art Carney one that, you know, it looks a little bit like Art Carney, but it's not just completely like trying to. It's not like Fred Astaire in Santa Claus is Coming to Town, where it's obviously Fred Astaire, but he's a little leprechaun, but he's kind of has a little Art Carney in him. But yeah, I like all those guys.
Yeah, I think I definitely agree how he's just Art Carney looking enough so that it's not weird looking.
Yeah.
Right.
Like earlier this season, we did Frosty's Winter Wonderland, and they tried to draw Andy Griffith, and it just did not work out.
Oh, boy.
This is more of a... In the Jack Frost special, they made a groundhog that looks like Buddy Hackett, and it's more like that.
Yeah. And I like the look of Mag the Hag, too. Like, she's...
oh, yeah.
She looks pretty cool.
Oh, she looks excellent.
Yeah, she's got that classic Rankin Bass design. As soon as you kind of see her pop out of the ground, it just feels like you can tell even if I didn't know this was a Rankin Bass, you'd go, it has just all the hallmarks of their type of style and art, character design. It's she looks great.
Yeah, she's up there with Winter Warlock for me. Like she's just an iconic looking bad guy.
They do kind of look similarly too, now that you mention
it. A little bit, yeah.
Well, out pops Blarney to try and fight off Denty with his sword, which immediately breaks on Denty's ankle. And then Blarney says, "Oh, lad, I hope I didn't hurt you." Well, then don't hit him with a sword, man.
Right?
Sort of passive-aggressive there a bit.
I get it. Guy comes in super excited when he sees gold, looks like it's a thief. But Denty explains himself and apologizes for getting overwhelmed with greed for a minute there. And Blarney introduces himself as the principal patriarch of the clan Kilakilarney. And Denty asks, "Were those Kilakilarneys I saw on the shore?" And Blarney admits, "I don't know. I haven't spoken to my family in 100 years. Which, yep, he's Irish. Totally a thing. I was raised half Irish, half German, and that's a lot of stubbornness over stupid stuff. So Blarney invites Denty into his little bunker, I guess, to tell him the story of why he doesn't talk to his family anymore. Meanwhile, outside is Mag the Hag, who's content to just slip a potion down what I guess is effectively a chimney hole in this hill covered in shamrocks, right into a boiling pot of tea, and then she's just gonna sit and wait and see what happens next. Blarney keeps checking. Oh, still too hot. Didn't the Banshee just emerge from a spring of bubbling water out of the sand? Get down in there.
Right.
She doesn't have to be invited. That's vampires. So Blarney explains there are two clans of leprechauns, the Kilakilarneys, who mine for gold, and the O'Clogjiggers, who make shoes. I thought that was elves, but close enough.
Yeah, and I guess if we're getting into elf logic, I guess there'd be also the cookie makers as well, but we don't want to go down that tangent.
Oh, that's a different movie. So here Blarney married Faye O'Clogjigger and united the two families. They lived in harmony, eating, sleeping, begatting. Slid that one in there.
Yeah, I like that. Just as like they go ahead and close the door after being married.
And out comes a family.
Yep.
Slightly
naughtiest
suggestive.
Bass, yeah.
And here's where we get Art Carney's song, The Golden Gold of Ireland.
Oh, the golden gold of Ireland's only seen by leprechauns, for we mine it in the middle of the night. And we chop it into nuggets and we pile it into pots, which we bury for the early morning light.
It's another short montage of leprechauns mining for gold, after which he explains leprechaun gold attracts rainbows, and that's what led the Banshee to them. Okay. You could have used the song to explain that. Other than that, it's not a lot of these songs besides Christmas in Killarney, which we talked about, really hold up. They're just kind of here for time filler.
Yeah, they fall kind of just like elevator music. It's just so background. Nothing really stands out in this. And nothing is even silly or bad enough to really for you to recognize. It's just all wallpaper, like audio wallpaper to me. Like the songs are just there.
Yeah, none of them are showstoppers, that's for sure. I think there's only 4 songs. I think they're all pleasant songs. And I remember when we talked about Pinocchio, like there's some songs that are just like, just get this over. And then there's other ones where, they're kind of earworms, and none of these are either one of those things. And so I guess like when we're looking at it is, okay, they're just kind of bland, but and maybe it's just a Hobbit kind of feel to it that I'm connecting to, but I really, I think they're all pleasant songs. I really enjoy them, even if they're not like the highlight of the special for me.
There you are, appropriately the boiled potatoes of the Rankin Bass music catalog.
If ever there was a time to have music that was akin to boiled potatoes, this was the one.
Well, here is where we get into Banshee lore. They're like Mogwai rules, so pay attention. Here's how this special, and only this special, explains how Banshees work. Yeah, these are not, like, I had to look this up. This is not rooted in any sort of Irish Banshee lore. This is just, we gotta make up some rules. So a Banshee must obtain gold by Christmas morning every year, or else they dissolve into tears forever. But a Banshee can't take gold, they must be given gold. And that's where that potion comes in. It's a generosity potion that's supposed to coerce whoever drinks it into, here you go, here I give you all my gold. And then the last Banshee rule is a Banshee can shapeshift into anything but can be instantly recognized by their unstoppable tears.
Right. The Banshee's kryptonite. Okay, so let me get this right. This Banshee, pretty powerful, right? Can muster storms, cause earthquakes, just really can create some general mayhem. Why not just give her one nugget of gold? Why, to avoid all of this trouble that the leprechauns go with? What is the reason for not just saying, listen, give her one piece of gold, she'll go away and never bother us again? But they are just content with having her do this and having to practically kill the hag? Like, Michael May, do you want to defend said logic again here?
Clearly, she intends this gold for evil, Mike. I don't know what more to say. Like, she is a wicked, evil person, and if she gets this, she's going to create a death ray and each in the Pinchmen and take over the world. And you're crazy for wanting to give her anything.
I never thought of the death ray. That is a very good point.
Yep. Always think about the death ray. The only in-special reason they give is just it's bad luck, and can't be having that in Ireland.
And that I guess they're greedy. I mean, we could say...
Yeah. Although this is jumping ahead, but they do end up giving it away on purpose.
They do, but let's not jump ahead. It's this last rule about the tears that's what helps bring us up to speed. Mag the Hag disguises herself as a fairy godmother, and not a fairy godmother, a guardian angel, and visits Faye in her family's shoemaking shop. So, first off, Faye is voiced by Peggy Cass.
Sure, and I'm only making sense.
And I'm telling you, it was the Banshee what visited you.
And I'm telling you, 'twas a good fairy, a guardian angel.
Who I don't really know a lot about. IMDb tried to tell me I should know her from Auntie Mame, but sorry, y'all. My Peggy Cass reference point is as Mitzi in Gidget Goes Hawaiian.
Oh, my Lord.
I don't know. It's just a random thing I watched on the Disney Channel, probably, but there we go. And then here we get another quick song, Kilakilarney Shoes.
Kilakilarney shoes make you dance. Kilakilarney shoes keep the beat. Kilakilarney shoes put a rhythm in your blues. Try a pair of Kilakilarneys on your feet.
And that's the last one before we get to our headliner. Song's fine. But I'm more interested in these shoes. They only come in primary rainbow colors. It's straight up a Crayola box in there.
And they sing about one size fits all, which I'm not sure how that works.
Leprechaun, we can agree, are weird folk. And perhaps have some sort of strange color blindness that's happening here, that they can only see very bright, shocking colors.
Those are good colors, though. Like, I like the colors of the shoes.
Yeah. And they color code them like my daughter's closet. She likes to color code her clothes.
And there's a rainbow theme going on here.
Yes.
Yeah, they love the rainbows. I forgot. They're big fans of the rainbows.
Hope you all like bright orange clogs.
Oh, speaking of rainbows, like one thing I like about this too is the explanation about why there's always a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and it's because rainbows seek out pots of gold, like they're attracted to the pots of gold. So it's not like leprechauns kind of stupidly hide their pots of gold at the end of rainbows, but the gold comes first. And the rainbow follows.
Right. Yeah,
that'll come into play later, but. Right here, everyone's singing and no one seems to notice this woman appear out of nowhere, tells Faye she's her guardian angel and warns her gold is the root of all evil, and she should get her husband to give away all that they've mined of it, and Faye doesn't know the Banshee rules. So when Blarney tries to mansplain it to her, he calls her daft, and they get into this big fight that we don't see, and Blarney leaves for the mine, says, I'm not gonna come home, only to find that he's the only one there. So Mag appears and causes an earthquake that breaks a chunk of land off the Irish mainland, creating that uncharted island. And that's not how earthquakes work, but fine. It's a magic fissure.
It drifted out to sea, they literally say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Powerful Banshee. Just reminding you, very powerful Banshee.
So this earthquake is where the commercial break is.
And now, these messages.
It's fun to care for Gizmo, imagine he's your pet. It's fun to care for Gizmo and never getting wet. Never can make sure to keep him out of the light. And never feed him after midnight. Yes, never. It's fun to care for Gizmo, he's a lovable pet.
I'll take care of you, Gizmo.
He's a lovable pet.
And when we return, we're shown a map of Ireland and that peninsula of land disappearing and creating the Leprechauns Island. So, of course, I had to look that up. Blarney calls it the Phantom Island of Tralee, which sounds awesome. There is a town called Tralee in Ireland, but it's not offshore. It's kind of close, a bit north. There is an island a lot closer to the mainland, not nearly as small and not nearly as far out as it looks here. But just offshore the Beara Peninsula is Dursey Island. Population as of 2016, 4.
Oh my God.
Wow.
And that's average sized humans at any rate, so I don't know how many leprechauns are on there.
17,000.
There it is.
So clearly Denty moved back there after he got married and started a family.
Yes.
And that's it. But after breaking off the land into a phantom island, Mag the Hag appears before the Lord of the Leprechauns, and it's St. Patrick, y'all. Had to work him in.
Yes.
Of course, it's a Christmas special after all. I like the design. I like the look of St. Patrick, though.
Got the classic bishop's mitre, and it's perfect.
Mm-hmm. Well, now, I was just wondering, Meg, how is it you can turn to tears?
His voice is Rankin Bass regular Robert McFadden. He was the cricket in Pinocchio's Christmas when we last talked about him. Here he is summoning Mag because he was just wondering, how can banshees turn into tears? And it's time for more Banshee rules. Again, none of these appear to be legit Irish lore, but here we go. So banshees are created from tears. They can turn into tears freely, but without Christmas gold, they can't turn back and must stay tears. This beats Don't Feed Gizmo After Midnight by 3 years.
Yeah, the amount of backstory and plot of just what the Banshee rules are takes up a good third of this program.
It does, and Christmas morning is where they shoehorn in the holiday because it needs to be that precise. Well, Lord Patrick tricks Mag with the old, "Can you show me how you turn into tears" trick? And Blarney runs in, seals up the puddle with a pine cone, and St. Patrick makes the pine cone rapidly grow into a tree, and we're back. We are now more than halfway through this special, and we've gone over the actual special's running time to talk about it. And we're only halfway through just to set up all that Banshee lore to get back to Denty realizing, oops, I just set free a Banshee. Just in time for Blarney to take a sip of his tea that's been spiked with that generosity potion, but he realizes it right away.
He's good, huh? Like, this guy is the Batman of the Leprechauns, clearly. Like, quick little taste, and he's like, wait, hold up. I mean, and he plays possum a little bit, but he knows, he gets what's going on pretty fast.
He does. Like, he didn't build up an immunity to it. But in walks Mag, "Gold, please." And Blarney's having this internal struggle, trying not to give his gold to her. So in a pinch, he decides to give all his gold to Denty. That's using your head. I don't think I could have made that decision in a pinch like that.
Well, he's the only one else there.
Yeah, I think it's pretty smart.
Well, Blarney has Denty promise not to let Mag have the gold. Let's see how long that lasts. Oh, it's about 20 seconds later. And Denty finds a beautiful shipwrecked woman crying on the beach. 20 seconds.
This is like facepalm moment of the whole special. He is the very first person he meets, mind you, on a deserted island where, to our knowledge at this point, there's about 11 leprechauns on. You don't think it's odd that there's another woman that just magically appears who is crying, which you have just heard this. Were you even listening?
All right, I'm going to jump in again because she's got a backstory. She's got this all figured out, right? She says that she was shipwrecked there, and that's why she's crying. Like, some of the other disguises she has is just like a normal whatever, but it's crying all the time for no reason. And this, like, she has thought this through and come up with a story to explain why she's crying, and it makes sense to him.
You have to, if you live as long as a Banshee has to and have to do this every year around Christmas time. You have to be on the ball.
You get pretty creative at this. You get good at it, I guess.
Yeah.
Got strong Mysterio and Far From Home vibes right around here. Oh, just give me your gold and I'll have the Leprechauns build us a ship to sail back to Ireland. Wouldn't the poor folks in Killarney have a time with it? And that's it. That's how we get into the song.
The holly green, the ivy green, the prettiest picture you've ever seen is Christmas in Killarney with all of the folks at home.
Yeah, it's quite the segue that Mr. Mueller set up there. I mean, this number, I mean, if you need to make this feel Christmassy, this is about the only 70 seconds, 90 seconds where they even remotely try. I mean, there's some sort of Christmas tree structure. It's not really a tree. It's like this, they have this almost like an effigy that they're burning almost. I don't even know. But this is the only moment in the entire special that kind of echoes Christmas feel and iconography. Like,
yeah, you got like leprechauns dressed up as Santa, like one gets on top of the other one, and they put on like a long coat and a fake beard. But yeah, it's all in this little montage.
This is it.
Kind of flashback. Yeah, but yeah, this is it. But
I would guess if we could find a commercial for this special that was running in advance of its first airing, they would have had to have relied heavily in the edit to include moments from this song.
The ending credits montage of this special at the end is mostly clips from this scene. They couldn't get out of the special without relying heavily on just this little daydream.
This is it, though. I mean, you were so right, Mike, that the whole reason for being for the whole reason that this exists is because of this song. They were like, I'm sure they animated and did this sequence first and then went, whoa, okay, now what are we going to do? Okay,
yeah.
a banshee that cries. Let's go. Like,
and maybe they sat on it too long because at this point, Bing Crosby is gone. By about 5, 6, 7 years. But so they have the Ken Jennings sing it, and it's fine. His version's fine, but they keep it nice and short so they can keep the story going, I guess. I am going to nitpick one more thing, though. At the beginning of this special, Blarney said Denty's ship was sailing back home to Dublin, which is on the other side of Ireland from Killarney, but whatever. She's the one who brought up Killarney. It's her fault.
I'm sitting here racking my brain. Like, did Bing Crosby do like a Rankin Bass special? Like, did he narrate any of the other ones?
I don't think so.
I can't think of one either.
I don't think so, but man, he should have, right?
Right.
They really dropped the ball. I mean, White Christmas ends up in the story of the first Christmas snow, but he's not in that. Yeah, she lines out this whole plan of, I'll tell the leprechauns to build us a ship. Okay, woman I've just met, that's a great idea. Here's the gold. And of course, here's where the Banshee reveals herself with a great little nightmare face turn.
Those tears! You!
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty terrifying.
Turns around and it's still the pretty girl with the red eyes and fangs. Just a very nice touch they put in there to scare all the children. Mag puts Denty to sleep for 100 Christmases, and now we get this scene of leprechauns gathering around the sleeping Denty like he's Snow White.
The person that they've known for literally 30 minutes.
But it's enough to have Faye realize, hey, maybe that guardian angel from a century ago, that was 100 years ago, remember? Maybe that might have been a banshee. Sorry, husband. Blarney apologizes too. And again, very Irish marriage thing happening here. How many people told you guys at your weddings never go to bed angry? Like everyone, right?
Right.
This is why. You go to bed angry, you end up not talking for a whole century.
And moving into a cave.
And
alone.
moving into a cave with all of your gold. Well, their rekindled love summons St. Patrick in the sky now, directly underneath a very familiar-looking star. Look, it's another Christmas thing. He stretches a rainbow across the sky that does two things. One, it wakes up Denty. Do rainbows have Mogwai rules now?
Sure, why not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because Denty wakes up and says, you don't tell me I have to explain rainbows to leprechauns now, do you? No, but you have to explain it to us. Why are you awake?
Yeah, like the audience would like to know that information there, pal.
Yeah. Let's just say, like, he falls asleep, like, literally maybe 4 minutes before the end of the show. Like,
it wraps up super fast. I think they went, after they did all the Banshee explaining, they were like, okay, let's get out of here. Star White, then we're out. Like,
well, the other thing the rainbow does, it opens up the cave where the gold is. As we mentioned before, rainbows are attracted to gold. So the cave opens up and in rushes Mag the Hag. But wait, it's Christmas morning. She's too late.
No! Christmas morning! Too late!
And she melts back into tears, and very interesting thing they did here. A huge wave crashes over her here, but the wave is traditionally animated over the stop motion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an interesting choice. A little bit that really stood out for me. I'm assuming it did for you guys as well. Where that's not something you commonly see in these Rankin Bass sort of stop motion fairs.
Right. Yeah. On one level, it feels a little bit cheap, but on the other level, I appreciate that it looks different. Like I kind of like it actually.
Yeah, it's a cool effect, and you don't see this merging those two styles very much. In the past, they would have maybe a little montage during a song that's hand-drawn, but then they cut back to stop motion, and they never mixed the two.
I kind of wish they did it more. Like, I wish there was a little bit more of it in this special then, because the minute that popped up, I was like, oh, that's actually kind of a neat blending. But I wish there would have been some other examples of that, because it feels like it's this one stock image in the special.
Yeah, if they would have used it more throughout the whole thing, it would have looked really cool. Here, I don't know if cheap is the right word, but it's misused. It's just out of nowhere.
Yeah, and that's why I think it further enforces that. Let's wrap it up. They were.
And at the other end of the rainbow, it's Denty's ship sitting over at what looks like a port. Did we not think to look over there for your ship, man?
Yeah.
Just turns his head slightly that way. Oh, look.
Now, there was a storm earlier, right?
There was a storm earlier, so it must... Yeah, the ship could have arrived pretty quickly. But it looks like when we see it that it's been sitting there for quite a while. But
no, I totally agree. Yeah, it does look that way. I think, like, in my head, I'm trying to make it work so that, like, the storm either pushed it out farther to sea and it came back, or it just made it so that they couldn't see it. But, like, you never get a visual, like, you never actually see that happen in the show. Like,
it could be. Again, it's Christmas morning when this is all happening. We don't really know how many hours Denty was asleep. We star wipe to Christmas morning right before the sun rises, so...
That captain, man, I'm telling you, this captain, he is the guilty party here.
You never see his eyes open. He's been...
No. Of all people he's sending to do this mission, he's got blockhead Denty doing this thing, not turning his head, falling for the biggest sap that falls for tricks. All of this falls at the captain's feet, I will say.
There you go. Well, he's the one who kind of sails everyone out of there. Denty and the leprechauns board the ship with the gold and the bright rainbow-colored shoes. They head home to Ireland, and that's it. It ends pretty abruptly.
Abruptly is the right word. It's just you immediately go, okay, there's the ship, and dun 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 dun. Like everybody, all the leprechauns are boarding this thing. They're saying, the funny thing is, I don't recall ever hearing that the leprechauns wanted to leave the island. It's not like we got the impression that they were trapped it's kind of almost like you get the point where, like, did the captain go, oh, perfect, we're going to kidnap you and put you in a zoo back home. Let's go. Like,
well, Art Carney says at the very beginning that they brought the gold back to Ireland. They never bring that up in the special again. It's just, we're on an island now. I guess we live here. And then at the very end, they say, oh, it'll be so nice going home to Ireland. That's it. Here's where they should have put Christmas in Killarney. End with that.
Yes. That would have been smart. Or or just play the instrumental version of that. Like bring that swelling up. I mean, have that run over the credits at the ending. Missed opportunity for sure.
Yeah. Well, one last stupid bit of trivia about the Leprechaun's Christmas Gold. This is according to the Christmas Specials Wiki website, which exists, but there's no source on it, so I'm just taking their word for it. Apparently, Arthur Rankin said once in an interview that they tried to plan a promotion for this special where they would bury prizes in random places around the country for children to dig up and find, but they scrapped the idea over safety concerns.
Probably for the best.
Probably for the best.
They're hitting electrical cords and
kids stuck in a 6-foot hole they dug.
hitting water mains.
Oh dear!
Like power going out in neighborhoods all over the.
Timmy fell down the well. That would have made this special infamous in one way or another. Any final thoughts on the Leprechaun's Christmas Gold?
So this one kind of killed Rankin Bass, right? As far as, was this like one of their last holiday specials that they did?
They did one last stop motion after this. It was The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus, which was based on L. Frank Baum, which was fantastic. But yeah, after this, there wasn't a lot. They went on to TV, and then they took a gamble on Thundercats, and it was a good gamble.
Yeah, it's like, and it's a shame. I don't want to say that this one broke the camel's back.
I don't think so.
I think they just ran out of material. I mean, they milked that holiday in a way. I wish I would have really liked Rankin and Bass to have gotten their mitts on Halloween. Yes, I know they did Mad Monster Party, but that doesn't really fit as like a Halloween special. I wish they would have done a couple of those, like moved on from Christmas. It felt like there was this inability for them to try anything else. And then they just abandoned it altogether, because we noticed this with like the Pinocchio one and this one. They were just running out of ideas. Like they were kind of like, what else there's no other Christmas stuff to do here.
Yeah, they had a few good Easter specials that I'd like to get to eventually. Well, we did First Easter Rabbit, and there are a few others that I want to get in the tank. They did have a TV series for a bit called Festival of Family Classics, and there was an episode of that based on the legend of Jack-O-Lantern.
Oh.
So that's as Halloweenish as they get, and it's Jack-O-Lantern, so it's this ghost who lives in a pumpkin with an Irish accent. So to tie it back to this.
Now, is that traditionally animated or is it stop motion?
It's traditionally animated, yes. I think 1970 is the year on that one.
Yeah, I grew up on that show, man. I loved that show as a kid. Yeah, yeah. And as fond as I am of this special, like Leprechaun's Christmas Gold, like they are scraping the bottom of the barrel. I think you guys hit the nail on the head on that. Like, they're out of ideas at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this thing is fine. And I just love spending time, and I'll say, like, in their world, the Rankin. I just love the look and feel and the voice work of just Rankin and Bass. But whether you love it or hate it, I think it's undeniable that they're kind of going, we're stretching here now. Like, we're really stretching for Christmas.
Yes, but it is a delightful little world they built here that we lived in for 24 minutes. They set up all these rules out of nowhere, and it was a fun little romp. So thank you both for volunteering yourselves for this one.
Oh, man. Yeah, I was stoked. Thank you for doing it.
I get worried of what we could even possibly do next.
I have an idea.
I have an idea as well. But for now, if people want to spike your tea with generosity, where can they find you, Djo?
If you like the sound of my voice, you can hear me on the Classic Film Jerks podcast and the Pop Culture Retrofit podcast. Look for those wherever you get your podcasts and find them on social media. That's how you can get a hold of me.
And Michael May.
Yeah, if you want to hear me talk more about Christmas stuff, Sleigh Bell Cinema is my Christmas movie podcast, completely inspired by Westfall's show here. So that and you guys have both been on episodes of that show for me. And then michaelmay.online kind of is my website that collects just the various podcasts that I do. I have too many, and they will all be kind of listed out there for you.
There you go. All right. Show notes, as always, are hidden under a fake hill of shamrocks at adventcalendar.house. You can say hi to me on Twitter at adventcalhouse, and I'll bless your house and all. See you in a couple of days. Till then, for Michael DiGiovanni and Michael May, this is Mike Westfall saying, may the wind be at your back, and watch out for the icy patch on your way out. Good night! The Advent Calendar House is part of the Christmas Podcast Network, located conveniently at ChristmasPodcastNetwork.com.
Oh, hello there. I didn't see you come in, which is odd because I set up this microphone just to record. I'm Tim Babb from the Can't Wait for Christmas podcast, and I'd like to invite you to join us every month as we talk about the traditions, the music, the movies, the food, and the fun of the merriest holiday on Earth. Plus, you'll help us answer some questions like, what is the greatest version of Jingle Bells?
Bing Crosby.
Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Yes.
What is the best Christmas food?
Well, everybody knows that one.
Hey, imaginary listener, it sounds kind of like Kermit the Frog. Can you be quiet? If you give away all the answers, they're not going to listen to the show.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Anyway, that's the Can't Wait for Christmas podcast. New episodes on the 25th of every month, wherever you get your podcasts, or at can'twaitforchristmaspod.com.
Next time on the Advent Calendar House.
Boys and girls, a ghost story for Christmas. The stingiest man in town.